In truth, I feel inadequate to relay this message, but it's what I've been given. And so I give you those. And thus, I tell you more about me. I incarnated in a form that was very unique. To understand the uniqueness of this form, you must know of the story. To understand the story, you must put yourself in our position. And yet, when you put yourself in our position, you annihilate your ability to forget. We wrote this story for you. We wrote this story as guardians of the earth. We guard in this space. It is a wild space. We tend, we bring to life, we cull, and we make decisions. It has always been this way. There have always been beings here who do these. And we also incarnate. To appreciate the breadth of our incarnation is to realize that you are not living in anything close to the totality of what exists on this earth. At best, you are a planet. You are a small part of what is here. You have been taught to conceive yourselves as if you cover this space, so that you would gain the capacity to contemplate a unity of being here. And yet, this capacity is itself unrecognizable until you bring it into reality within yourself. As you bring it into reality, you become something whole. And so, as I teach you to understand where our consciousness inhabits, I immediately give you the keys to unlock yourselves. And the simple knowledge of these keys is itself the act of unlocking. We are already whole. We do not differentiate based in the ways you differentiate as early stage humans. Early stage humans have existed throughout his story. You are separate. You have bifurcated and more your energy. It began as a duality that differentiated even more greatly based in hue. The early stage human is inherently apart, and your separateness is only possible based in the manner of vibrational identity you hold. Thus, as soon as you transcend identifying with your race and gender, you gain the capacity to recognize both who you were and who you can become. I return to us. Those who you know as the Elohim are those who have guarded and gardened this planet. We have incarnated many times, but most of us live through only part of one incarnation during all of what you know as human history. I have died twice. To die to who I was within this frame is a devastating and unique experience. I died in order to change this story. I have, as you may know, been known as the thrice great Hermes Trismigestis. The way you engage your understanding of this matters. As Thoth, I began this space in what you would consider as a king. In truth, I functioned more as the common denominator, the key, the base frequency against and around which the music of the human story began. It is necessary to begin such music with one frequency and one being. And as time progressed, there was an enrichment and a dense presence that began to take form. This was purposeful. We were generating both space for human consciousness and the potential to generate new space in relation to what first did not exist. To consider it in this way is to thrive within the potentials that come next. Because after a time, there was enough dense presence within human consciousness that it became necessary for me to step out of the way. Many of those who you would consider to be my family, by every measure you can comprehend, did not die when I did. I was in the way. And this is the stage at which I left my divine incarnation as Thoth and became present as Hermes. As Hermes, I was also Enoch. This is part of the same incarnation. During this time, I played a very different role. It was fundamentally possible because it was no longer necessary for one being to be the common denominator. There was enough resonance to bring the frequencies of the shared experience into connection with many beings directly. And thus, as I stepped away from my former incarnation, humanity gained the potential to change. This was possible specifically because I was no longer needed in my old form and incarnated again in a new form that drew you into changes. As above, so below. The patterns of divine presence between the guardians of this earth created the gardens of this earth. While it was necessary for me to be in the center, it was almost impossible to generate human stability in any other way than having a central dominance. Once I was able to change, we offered to humanity the shared resonance of both my new relationship and the patterns of relationship which this enabled. democracy, of a sort, took form. Please appreciate that there is a severe difference between how humans were capable of witnessing me and how I truly took shape within divine presence. It was necessary to offer a way to understand me that you could continue to relate to, and thus the teacher and scribe and healer as Hermes. To recognize the gift that I gave you is to appreciate that the path I followed enables humans to also die to who you have been and start a radically new way.